What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Swagcast. Today we have a loving father and an MMA fighter with a record of 8-7, 6 of those wins coming from submission. The Sleeping Bull, Jordan Bailey. What's going on, Jordan? How we doing?
Good, G. How you doing? I love the intro. Thank you.
I love to hear that. The intros are something I pride myself on. It keeps the people
Good.
watching, get right into
Yeah, it's good,
screaming
bro. It's good. It's good.
and the people be creaming. No Diddy on that one. So you made your pro debut in 2013. Can you talk about how you got into fighting and what made you want to make a career out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I got in a lot of fights growing up, and then I used to live with my uncle like a little bit and stuff, and then he found this spot where they did jujitsu, and then he was just kind of like, "Hey, let's do it." And then I took classes, and the jujitsu building was like in this kickboxing building.
Mm-hmm.
So like they did everything, and it went from there. And like right away, I was just kind of like, okay, like this is pretty fucking sick. You know what I mean? So I figured out pretty early on, like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. And my whole mindset was just like, all right, no matter what, like even if it's fighting or even if I'm just stuck coaching, like this is what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? So I mean, I took to it pretty well. You know what I mean? And I'm not really too good at anything else. You know, I have a hard time reading, hard time doing math. So fighting was it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so kind of like fighting kept you out of trouble. Well, fighting got you into
Yeah.
trouble until you got into like organized fighting, and then it kind of kept you like out of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I got kicked out of my high school for fighting. So, and then it's funny because I remember my vice principal was telling me, he was like, hey, man, you know, you're not gonna, we gotta expel you, dude. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere in life just by fighting people, you know? But then when I fought for Bellator, that high school was trying to like post me on their page. I'm like, whoa, hold up, you guys kicked me out for fighting, but now all of a sudden, you know, you wanna hype me up because of my fight? Nah.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
crazy that they tried to post you after, especially if that vice principal still works there, especially if he's
right,
still in the school, knowing damn well what he said to you. Um,
yeah.
so now you grew up in California, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Sacramento.
Oh, okay. So what was kind of your first like fight gym in Sacramento? I know there's gyms all throughout California. What was the first one that you started training at?
So the very first one was called Marinobles,
Okay.
and that was the kickboxing gym, and then they had like this little jiu-jitsu gym inside of it, kind of
Mhm.
a Charles Gracie affiliate. Mr. Marinoble is a world champion kickboxer, so I trained kickboxing with them, and his brother is a badass too. You know, they were killers, bro. Um, do you know like Anthony Hernandez and Max Griffin?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they started there too. We all started over at Marinobles way back in the day. I think I was like 15. I think Fluffy's a little bit later, but yeah. So they started over there at Marinobles, and then I kind of moved around a little bit, and I was hopping around. But Marinobles was the first one. You know what I mean? That was the first time I really got introduced to any type of martial art or anything like that.
Mhm. So you said you jumped around. What camp are you currently at? You're still in Sacramento, right?
No, I'm in San Diego now.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, San Diego's kind of fucked. It's just like there's not like a solid gym around here, you know.
Mhm.
So I train at like three or four different gyms. It's not like they have one gym or one fight team, which is crazy because when I first moved down here, it was like you had like all these pros like Michael Chandler, Alexander Gustafsson, like all these people, Dom, all those people. Now it's like you kind of gotta like I go to one place for kickboxing, I go to one place for strength conditioning, I go to another place for just like my MMA training. I'm working over at a gym called the Training Center, and that's
Okay.
Chris Lieben. He was on the Ultimate Fighter One. He has
Okay.
a
Yeah.
ton of
He always
yeah.
had the
So it's his
crazy hair.
yeah, red hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's an OG. So that's his gym. So I'll do like my MMA training with him. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a fight team how you would think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's more so like he's very technical with the things he shows, and yeah. So like I work a lot of technique with those guys over there. But really, I got to kind of hop around. I do my kickbox. Mainly, I'm training over at Steel
Mm-hmm.
MMA and Fitness with Carl Gebhardt. That I would say that's probably my main spot right now.
Okay. And so Lieben being the one that like does kind of your MMA training mostly, is that your corner as well, or who are the coaches that you have in your corners?
No, so funny story about that.
Okay.
So he was supposed to he's cornered me before. We've
Uh-huh.
done like a lot of fights together, but he started working for CSAC.
Okay.
So he became a judge and like he's trying to do some refing too. And basically, what happened was for my fight against JJ Ambrose, it was
Mm-hmm.
either JJ Ambrose or Alex Trinidad, one of my Cage Warriors fights. They said he asked if he could corner me. They said it was good. It was everything was all good to go. They checked it like 2-3 weeks before. Then come weigh-in day, we get weighed in, we do our stuff, and then they call Chris Lieben over like the commission did, you know. And I already knew what was gonna happen. They came back and he's like, "Yeah, they said I can't corner you," and that's like the day before the fight. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We weighed in, everything was set, and we had like asked, confirmed, triple confirmed like 3 times before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they said it was all good, bro, but for whatever reason, the day before my fight, they decided that it wasn't good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so he can't corner me anymore. He doesn't really corner any fighters or anything like that. He just likes to he does the technique for the love of the game. Like right
Mm.
now, he's got a couple kids he likes to teach and stuff, but he can't really corner anyone. But Carl's in my corner now.
Okay.
Carl's solid. Really, really good striking coach. He's got Nick. I forget Nick's last name. Nicky P. I know him as Nicky P.
Mm-hmm.
But he trains MMA over there. I work with him and Carl probably more than anybody. But yeah, Carl's solid. Really, really good kickboxer. He's been in like Dominic Cruz's corner. I know he worked with the Pitbull brothers before. But really, really good striking coach. Really, really good squad over there.
Okay, so you mentioned Cage Warriors. I want to jump back to 2022 when you were actually on a two-fight win streak in Cage Warriors. Both wins by guillotine. You know, don't be silly, jump the
Yeah,
gilly. Can
yeah,
you talk
yeah.
about why like you left Cage Warriors despite being on a +2? Because your next fight after that +2 is with a completely different promotion.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the main thing with Cage Warriors was they just weren't really getting me fights. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We were going like my first fight with them. I stepped up on short notice to fight, and then second fight with them, they got me a solid fight, and then the third fight with them, it was the same thing. We were like 2 weeks out from the show, and then like I still didn't have an opponent. And then the only guy they had for me was a guy that had like 45 fights. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I mean, Chris didn't really want me to take it, but at the same time, I was already like 2 weeks into camp. So then I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll take it. Luckily, like I won. You know, I did good, but it was just one of those things where like I was. It was having trouble finding me fights. You know what I mean? So I just I signed with Ruby, and he's just been kind of finding me fights wherever else. You know, the best opportunity, the most money and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing personal against them or anything. You know what I mean? But I got to go with what's best for me. You know, it's like I got to make sure I 100% have a fight. You know, because I think
Yeah.
last what happened, we were like 10 days out, and it was basically like, hey man, like we don't know if we can find you a fight. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then it's like they had one guy, but like he had got knocked out, so there was like problem with clearing him and stuff. But I mean, it's nothing. Honestly, I want to fight for them in December.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. At the end of the day, you just kind of got to go where the money is, where the matchups are, all that.
Yeah, so right now you're on a two-fight losing streak, which could be a tough time for most fighters mentally. How do you kind of truck through that and prepare for whatever's next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's just like one fight, like I didn't even show up. Like I didn't even really want to be there. I just
Mm-hmm.
like went out there, and there's a lot going into it. You know how it is, bro. There's so many things that happens in camp that that you don't hear about. So
Yeah.
it was one of those fights where it's like I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do anything, so I just kind of went in, went out. This last fight, I wanted to be there. The problem was, my mentality. I was too arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude I fought, he's cool, bro. Like his name's Tommy Aaron. He's cool, bro. He's tight. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I gave him the respect he deserved. And
Mm.
I just wasn't. I wasn't fearful in that fight. And this is something I've talked to my coaches about a lot. Is um, I fight a little bit better when I'm fearful. You know what I mean? A lot of times I go out there, just when I get too cocky. I don't feel scared, and then I just start doing stupid stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm not in battle mode. I'm in like I'm gonna beat this kid up mode. Which is good to
Yeah.
have, but you got to find that natural balance. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
in that fight, I would say overall, like I would consider myself like a pretty like cerebral fighter.
Mm-hmm.
As far as finding my range, but that fight, I went out there and I just started swinging big, and it's just kind of a coin toss on that one. But I mean, shout out to Tommy, bro. Like the thing with that is he fought like perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
He did everything perfect. I think we fight again, I win. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone feels that way whenever they lose, but no disrespect to him or nothing. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, let's go, Tommy. Run it back. So,
Yeah.
what is next for you? What do you have on the radar? Are there fights being looked at right now? Are you taking a little bit of time off, or do you want to jump right back into it?
Yeah. Well, so I wanted to fight in September,
Okay.
and I had a really good matchup in September, but unfortunately for me, fortunately for my teammates, they got a couple fights. So my teammates Ashley Thiner, and then John Mack, they're fighting for the Bellator that same day.
Okay.
So I told Carl, I was like, hey, I'm not gonna fight unless you're in my corner, bro. So I'm not gonna expect him to abandon two of my teammates to come
Yeah.
corner me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. So I wanted to fight September 7th, but it just didn't work out. Everything happens for a reason. I ain't tripping on it. But hopefully, we're looking at a card in October. Whatever comes up, I mean, I'm more or less ready. I got to do a little bit of grappling to get that grappling cardio, but I'm starting to get that in. I stay in good shape year round, man. Like I coach, you know what I mean. So I'm always working. I'm always hitting my runs. Yeah, not too much changes in fight camp. So realistically, and honestly, I kind of want to do like a short notice camp. I'm over
Mm-hmm.
the long camps. You know what I mean? I'm over the waiting and all that stuff. I wouldn't mind like a little short notice fight. Just
Yeah.
get out
Yeah.
there, get it.
So now you mentioned training throughout the year. Besides coaching, do you do daily training? Like, do you have
Yeah,
daily sessions for yourself?
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not doing technique training, I'm at least doing some type of physical work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Monday. I'll do something like a little barbell workout. Leaving, he's got this Randy Couture crazy 88 routine. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So it's just what Randy Couture did for his fight. So I'll usually hit that Monday. I hit kickboxing Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, I'll go for like a 45-minute run. I went for a 45-minute run yesterday. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Saturdays, it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll take it off. Sometimes I'll go for a little run or play patty cake on the bag and shit. Sunday, I
Mm-hmm.
usually take off with my family though.
Okay. And now for coaching, do you coach just kids, or do you coach like adults too? And like, what do you coach? Do you coach mostly grappling, jiu-jitsu, or do you coach like full MMA?
Yeah, so I coach adults. I mean, kind of adults, like they're fucking little men children. You know what I mean? No, I got some 20-year-olds I be coaching and shit. We do. So I coach boxing and striking over
Okay.
at the training center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, are any of those guys that you're training, like, are is it just kind of like a hobby for them, or or are you training them to like get ready to get into the smoke themselves?
I'm trying to, man. The problem with these San Diego kids is they're all hella soft. You know what I'm saying? You know, they ain't from the same place. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
got everything handed to them. You know, so I want them to compete. There's a couple students I really want to start fighting, but you know, I can lead a horse to water. I can't make him drink.
Yeah.
So I make as many students as I can compete. We had a competition last week. Um, but I think a couple of them want to get some fights. I know there's one kid that's doing real well, John. Um, Technique wise, he's not the best in the gym, but his mentality's there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm hoping one day we get him a fight. And then I got another kid, Max, who is kind of the opposite. You know, hard worker, really good technique, but he's a little too busy working at Vaughn's, I guess,
Yeah. No.
which is the local grocery store.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, those are all tough ones. All right, I do want to dive right back into coaching, but
Yeah,
first
yeah.
I want to jump back and kind of ask what like your long term goals in MMA are. You're 31, and most fighters I've spoken to that are that age or around that age have said that like the best is yet to come. Like Mike Davis, UFC lightweight, told me that like he hasn't hit his prime yet, and so Kevin Lee said the same shit to me. So like what do you feel about like your age and like have you hit the best yet and like what are your future goals with MMA?
Yeah, you know, I think I'm getting better every day. I think the technique's getting better. I'm actually getting back to my roots on a lot of things of how I used to view fighting. Obviously, I'm getting a little older, but you know, it's like they say, youth is wasted on the young.
Mm-hmm.
As far as my fighting career, I want to at least get like 5, 6, 7 more fights. I want to get in as many as I can, really. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? As far as like making it to like UFC or whatever, I ain't really tripping on that, you know, just because I know they ain't really looking for 30-year-olds with my record.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I do want to get out there. I want to catch a couple highlight reels. If I hit like a PFL tournament or a Bellator fight again, that's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But really, bro, I would do this shit for free. I love it so much. You know what I mean? I told myself a while ago, I don't give a fuck what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight until I can't fight no more. And where I'm at is, I know I've never really reached my potential out there as far as what I can do and what I can show.
Mm-hmm.
So I want at least 5 solid performances where I reach my full potential. We'll see what goes on from there. But realistically, man, you win 2 or 3, it's like a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? Like, it is just different. But yeah, I at least want to get like 5 to 7 more fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I want to get some good highlight reels. You know. Other than that, really, I mean, like I said, I fight because I love it. But I'm trying to make that coaching transition somewhat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still coaching. I'm doing my own thing, but yeah, I just love fighting, bro. I love scrapping. I feel like my last 2 fights, right, I got cut short. And they were both just my fault, making stupid mistakes. You know what I mean? Being
Mm.
too arrogant or just straight up not giving a fuck. You know?
Yeah. Well, you for sure got that dog in you, and like you said, like once you go on a three fight win streak, shit starts to change, and
Yeah.
maybe the UFC aren't necessarily looking for fighters your age with your record, but if you win 2 fights in a row, 3 fights in a row, like you could get a short notice call or something like that from them. If you were to get a short notice call from the UFC, is that something you would take right away, or like?
Oh, 100%, 100%. You know, you never turn those things down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. If I got any type of call from the UFC, I'd take it. Even if it's on 2 days' notice. You know what I mean? I like I said, I love fighting, man. It's kind of what I do. It's what I grew up doing. It's the reason why I got into the sport in the first place. Was because I get into too many fucking fights. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah. It just, you know, when you're young, you have an idea of how the fight game works and like how everything works. You just tell yourself, you know, I work hard, I win, I'll get there. You know, but there's so many things in life that happen. You know what I mean? When I fought Tyson Griffin, I hurt my ankle pretty bad, so I was out for like a year just trying to fix my ankle. Then we start getting ready for a fight, and then COVID happens. So
Mm-hmm.
then there's no fights for like 2 years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's random stuff like that that take like big chunks of time out. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's, I would say, out of everything, like what annoys me the most is I haven't been able to get more fights. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, like I love it so much that wins, losses, they happen. You know what I mean? And I understand the technical aspect of what I've done wrong on all of my losses, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, man, I just want to have more fights. I want to be able to tell people, yeah, I had 20 fights, 30 fights, all that.
Yeah. Right. So earlier you had mentioned that you stay ready so you don't have to get ready, but you do have to do some more grappling just to get into the grappling shape. And then you told me kind of about your daily training process, and you didn't mention any grappling in there, but mostly all of your wins are submissions. So I'm confused. Do you not train jiu-jitsu every day? Like what belt are you in jiu-jitsu?
Um, yeah, no, I'm a brown belt. I'll
Okay.
train jiu-jitsu like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times a year. But it's just one of those things. It's like a lot of times if you watch my fights, what happens is I'm whooping these dudes' asses and then they shoot in on me. And, I'm going to take that gilly. I'm going to take whatever, really. You know what I'm saying? Come on, anything. But yeah, more often than not, man, like, I would say so. Most of my fights I lost on the ground, except for
Mm-hmm.
the last one. You know what I mean? I got knocked out in the last one. But yeah, typically I get out wrestled, and
Mm.
then I would say all my even if you watch the JJ Ambrose fight, I hit him with the elbow, dropped him with the uppercut. He kind of fell down. I just snatched up the guillotine just because it was right there.
Mm.
And then, yeah, the other fight, yeah, typically when I win by submission, it's people shooting in on me,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to be honest, bro, I don't like jujitsu too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know why it's boring.
Are you like just not a fan of grappling entirely, like, or is it just jiu-jitsu?
I don't know. I've been getting the itch to wrestle lately. Like,
Okay.
yeah. I've been getting the itch to wrestle lately, but I don't really train too much wrestling. I'm not that good at wrestling, it's hard. I'm good
Yeah.
at scrambling, dude. And to be honest, to be real, like I'm good at jiu-jitsu. Like I'll fuck people up in jiu-jitsu. I just don't really like training it, because
Uh-huh.
it's like I don't like all the touching. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
like people sweating, touching, like laying their shit on me and stuff, bro. Like I think it's gross.
Yeah, it's kind of sus too. I
Yeah,
completely understand.
exactly, bro.
Now,
Exactly.
but you are a competitor, so like if say you were to get a call to like do like a CGI type thing or like a karate combat match in the pit, like is that something you would do, like a grappling match, or are you not really down for it? But if there's a paycheck, you maybe would be.
Yeah. If there's a paycheck, I'll do it for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I did one of those. What's that? A subversive? Is it subversive? Is that a jiu-jitsu one?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I did one of those a couple months ago. It was alright. I did a match against some dude, some Temp Planet dude. His
Mm-hmm.
name was Fedor, but I don't really
Okay.
not Fedor Fedor. You know what I mean? But it's some
Yeah,
dude's named
not
Fedor.
the Fedor,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just
But
a Fedor.
it was all right. I took it on like a couple days notice. I think he ended up armbarring me, but I don't know. Shit was kind of. But hey, it was the same thing because I was talking to people in the crowd while we were doing,
Mm.
and then he snatched up an armbar, and I was like, oh, "This motherfucker," you know what I mean? But like, if I grab that dude again, I'd beat him. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
yeah.
No, absolutely. So now let's jump back into coaching and kind of what even led to you wanting to coach, what inspired you to coach? Was it just like somebody was like, "Hey, Jordan, dude, I got this class that needs a coach. Do you want to jump in it?" Or were you kind of striving towards that?
To be honest, bro, I was just broke and needed some money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I hated coaching at first. I hated doing it, but it's got to a point, I was doing some personal lessons, and then really when Chris Lieben, he opened up his gym, some stuff happened with his health and stuff. So then I started coaching in the mornings, and I mean, as far as jobs go, it's not bad, bro. You know, I barely graduated high school, so the money I make coaching actually ain't bad compared to like anything else I'd be doing. And then on the bright side, it's like one of those things where even when I'm working, I'm still getting a little bit better at what I do, you know. And I
Yeah.
try to be somewhat active, you know. I mean, I sit down a lot when I'm coaching, but I'm always yelling. I try to show the techniques. Sometimes I'll hop in there, and I'm hard as fuck on my students, bro. You know, I train them old school. I train them the way I was trained. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I said, out here in San Diego, people are different. They're a little bit softer. So
Mm-hmm.
the little warriors I got in my class, you know, they want that struggle. They want to work for that pain and stuff. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for them. Listen, bro, I ain't the easiest person to be around in general.
Yeah.
I'm 10 times harder to be around as a coach. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I respect it. All the ones that stick with it and keep coming in day after day, I respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a hard grind, especially with like a guy with you, like you, on their back screaming while they're sweating on the bag, dying. I can only imagine that it's building the dog inside of them to be great.
Yeah. They work hard, bro. And like I said, it's old school, man. It's old school. We do old school warm ups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was brought up in gyms,
Mm-hmm.
all my coaches told me like, "Hey, check it out, bro. That money you pay to go to the gym, that's so you got a roof over your head." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you wanna learn my techniques, right, you gotta earn them. Like show me, like do 100 push-ups, right? Go sit on the wall for 5 minutes. Go do a
Mm-hmm.
handstand for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So I try to integrate that into everything we do. You know, I have certain time constraints I got to stick with at the gym. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I got to make things work for everybody. But yeah, I train them old school, bro. Sometimes I just have them do 100 punches on each arm. You know what I mean? Of every
Yeah.
punch. And then once they show me they're there to work, then we can go over technique.
Mm-hmm. So you keep saying old school, old school. What can you like kind of bring me through like the differences between like what you're calling old school and what you would consider like new school training?
Fuck, man. I would say one's mean as fuck. One's a little bit nicer. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but just the way it's done. You know what I mean? Like a hot topic in it's like San Diego. I see all these San Diego jiu-jitsu guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're complaining about doing warm-ups. You know, they don't want to do old school warm-ups like shrimps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, listen, bro, these warm ups have been around since Jiu Jitsu started. You
Yeah.
just started doing this shit 10 years ago. So you're telling me you know more about the motherfuckers that created Jiu Jitsu and did it their whole lives, right? You know more than them because you've been doing it for like 10 years. It just that's like the new school training, right? Like, oh, you know, we don't do those warm up. You know, we do these sophisticated warm ups. It's like, listen, bro, those warm ups are there for a reason.
Mm.
Every day my class starts, my students do the same exact warm-ups, right? I mean, we'll mix it up every now and then, but I make them jump rope,
Mm-hmm.
I make them do their slips forward and backwards, I make them do their rolls forward and backwards, as basic as you get.
Mm-hmm.
Then I make them walk forward with their 1-2, walk backwards, and then walk lateral with their 1-2, right? And
Mm.
we just have a series of very basic fundamental warm-ups, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu, you know. Oh, it's the shrimp is a waste of time. It's a lazy warm-up. It's like, no, bro. Listen, you do these shrimps as warm-ups
Mm-hmm.
because this should be automatic to you,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, one, it warms you up. Two, it starts to bulletproof your body, right? In
Mm-hmm.
boxing, when we're slipping, we're using our legs. In jiu-jitsu, when whether you're doing your butt scoop or your shrimp, right? You're
Mm.
using your core and you're teaching your body how to get your core, your center of gravity away from somebody else's in order to create space.
Yeah.
Um, so everything you do on those, right? That should be automatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have to think about how to do a shrimp. Your body should be doing it automatic, and then that's how you get to those higher level techniques.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my coach last night was going on a rant about how he's old school from the first Jiu-Jitsu brigade in Rhode Island, and like that's why
Yeah,
we do what we do. And yeah, all of my
yeah.
classes start with shrimps back and forth, hip escapes back and forth, penetration shots back and forth, bear crawls
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth, and then we get into whatever the lesson of the day is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. And the thing is, it's like it's hard to understand that when you're newer, but I've been doing martial arts for like 15, 16 years, you know. So there's just a reason why we do everything we do, and there's a reason why things are taught the way they are. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And if we go back farther, like if you're looking at like boxing or even other martial arts, like these things have been around for thousands of years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? These things have gone through thousands of years of training and seeing what works and what doesn't. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You ain't gonna come in with 5 to 10 years of training and change the whole landscape. You know what I mean? Maybe you
Yeah.
might have a couple good ideas here or there, but the reality is these are done for a purpose. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they bulletproof our body, and they make a lot of these movements second nature to us. So now we're not thinking about doing these basic movements; we just do them.
Yeah. I blame the 10th planet guys.
Yeah, right.
Half kidding and half not kidding. I once watched a video of like a 10th planet guy doing like an arm drag, but he put the arm behind his back and grabbed it with his other hand. And like
Oh, thank
if
God.
anybody ever tried that to me, I'm just pulling my arms away. Like you're losing me
Yeah,
completely. I'm not an idiot. Like
yeah, right. Yeah,
so I've been asking almost every interview, every MMA fighter I've been interviewing recently. So I have my first jiu-jitsu competition coming up in about 2 weeks. And as a coach, I know you're not a jiu-jitsu coach, but do you have any advice you would give? I'm a white belt one stripe, with 10
yeah,
years of
yeah.
wrestling experience. Any advice you
Nice.
would give me to get through this tournament with gold?
Shit, bro. My best advice is, like it's competition, right? We
Mm-hmm.
we it's nothing personal, but what I tell my students, be mean, bro. Be
Mm-hmm.
mean, Um, like when you're warming up, getting ready, I think guided meditation is good. Meditate in your head, focus on your breath, so you're not so focused on the competition constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's helped me out a lot in my fights, and it's helped me perform when the nerves are too much.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, as far as the competition, you're a wrestler. I wrestled 2 years in high school,
Mm-hmm.
actually. I wasn't exactly good,
Mm,
but I was mean. So
mhm,
anytime we got close to the edge of the mat, I would just push the kid off.
mm.
And just by doing something like that, I beat a lot of wrestlers that were 10 times better than me that had been wrestling 10 times longer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's nothing personal, you're competing, right?
Mhm.
If they take it personal, that's on them. You know what I mean? You're there to win. But yeah, bro, like use your wrestling experience, be mean, you know what I mean? Be relaxed outside the competition, do
Mhm.
that breath work outside the competition. But when you're competing, use that aggression, be mean, don't get over aggressive, right? Don't put yourself in a bad position, but let them know you're there to win, right? They're
Yeah.
secondary to what you do.
Yeah, no, exactly. I that's what I've been working on the most is my aggressiveness, like getting on top, getting my position. And the last week I've been really working hard in my guard cuz that's the last thing I want. I'm not really in my guard much in training, but that's the last thing I want
Yeah.
to get stuck in my guard in comp. So I
Yeah.
fucking hate being on my back. I'm a wrestler. Like whenever
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like we lose
exactly,
on our
right?
back. So like being in my guard, I've been working on it for like the last 2 weeks and like really trying to just get my hip escapes down, get back up and get back on top into an aggressive
Oh
situation.
yeah,
I'm
perfect,
feeling
bro.
confident about it. I'm feeling good. I mean, I feel
Fuck
as good
yeah.
as I ever have for any competition I've ever been in. So this will definitely
Hell
be
yeah,
a.
bro.
I'm feeling good.
Hey, circling back to that, bro. What you can do? You can
Mm,
use your shrimps to create space, right?
yeah.
Get your hips away from theirs,
Mm,
then create a scramble, create a wrestling scramble, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you're on bottom, you can always do that, right? As a wrestler,
Uh,
create that distance, and then you have your scramble.
Yeah, my scrambles are like a main part of my game right now. A training partner actually told me
Awesome, bro.
last night that like without scrambles I'd be cooked. And I was like, you're a dickhead for that. And
You're like, damn, right?
he was definitely joking, but like that my wizards just that's the first thing I grab is the
Perfect,
wizard.
bro.
That
Yeah.
thing's a lifesaver. So So now we're close to closing out. However, we've talked about fighting this entire podcast, and I know you love fighting. It's pretty much your entire life. But do you have any hobbies outside of fighting, outside of coaching? Anything that like you do that just like keeps you sane, keep just for you, you know?
Nah, bro, I'm a fucking loser, dog. No, I mean, fuck. Really, realistically, it's all I do. I mean, I was so uh, like fighting saved my life, bro. Like I used to be like really big into drugs and alcohol and stuff,
Mm.
and all that. And then I got sober. I got a kid now and a family. I mean, I'll play video games, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
usually I just end up getting fucking pissed. So like my wife doesn't really like me to play too much because I start yelling and shit.
Yeah.
Bro, honestly, the only thing other than fighting I do is watching fight film, breaking down fights. Like I love fighting so much, bro. It's really my only hobby. I had a couple friends try and get me to like play golf and shit. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, bro. Honestly, like I said, I'm kind of a loser, dog. Like all I do is either fight or try to learn fighting. I'll hang out with my daughter. I'll take her to the park. But then we go to the park and then she starts kicking other kids and shit. And I'll try to fix her technique on the kick before we leave. But I
Yeah,
tell her no.
you gotta bring her to the gym. You gotta turn her
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
to the next little Amanda Nunes. Um,
Yeah, right?
but nah, you keep saying you're a loser. You're a winner in my book, Jordan. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you,
on the
G.
Swagcast today. Is there anything you want to shout out before getting off? Any social medias you want to send the people to?
Yeah. I mean, if you follow me on social media, my social media is Sleeping Bull, and then shout out to my sponsors, the Steve Mitchell Law Firm and San Diego Detox.
Hell yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for everybody that watches, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you smash the follow button, smash the subscribe button, and we'll see you next Wednesday.